especially since it's a Monday, starting of a new week, and almost ending of a new year or
Oh
beginning of
my
another
God.
new year. So, with that said, today chat is wide open. We depend on chat to make us as relevant. Hopefully, we can create some wonderful takeaways you can apply and get full value for. The word of the day is investment. Always want to hear what you have to say about investment. Maybe an investment story that you think people can learn from would be great too. I can't say enough about my two co hosts today, Kelly and Harvey. You know both of them from this show, but probably you're getting to know them really well from their own shows. Harvey is the franchise show, Tuesdays following this show. Kelly with Christy Howard is the awesome journey that follows Harvey's show. So you could really not only get a sandwich here, but you can get a sandwich on Tuesdays between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So with that, let me turn it over to Kelly. Kelly can share pretty quickly where she's been since she's been here and what's her initial thoughts. We've got Carl here, who is really starting to be a great supporter and somebody
Yeah.
who's actually applying what we're talking about and getting results. You know, we can tell you, but other people showing you makes a difference. So,
Mhm.
Kelly,
Yeah. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. And interestingly enough, the first person I thought of when I saw investment was Carl. So I love that he was the first comment this morning. Um, but what a great word for this time of year, and truly any time of year. But I think we all think about it this time of year. What kind of investment are you making in the holiday season? Because good Lord, it can be draining on the pocketbook. I don't even know if people say pocketbook anymore, but your bank account nonetheless. And then of course I can't help but think of investment into yourself. Being
mhm.
that we focus on the awesome journey so much about mental health, which comes from our own mental health journeys, and this time of year can definitely be a struggle for some, or it can be an exacerbation to other things that are going on. And just a friendly reminder, our mental health is part of our overall health. It shouldn't have a negative stigma attached to it, and we're trying to crush that. So taking an investment in yourself, and taking time. What do you do for your self investment? Whether it's going for a walk in the morning, like I know Don does every single day, like a good boy. We all need to model after that. An investment in taking some time to yourself, whether it's meditation, journaling, reading a book. Uh, that being said, I've got a great book list on the Awesome Journey page for anyone looking for last minute stocking stuffers, gifts, hostess gifts, birthday gifts, what have you. Um, and because that's so important, investing in ourselves. And how are we investing in ourselves for 2024? What does your 2024 look like, and what are you excited about? And I know for me personally, specifically with you two, the investment of time that we've shared with each other to start 2024 off on a little bit of a springboard, if you will. So those are my initial thoughts in my investments with my friends here, Harvey and Dawn. So thanks. Over to you, Harvey.
Harvey, what could you add to something that doesn't need any adding?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Mic
I
drop,
was
show's
thinking,
over.
very good. All done here. Very little to that, because that was an incredible summary of the word, what we've done up till now, what we could do and are going to do in the future. I'd like to pick up on a few things there. First of all, I like the term mountain time, what you said there, Don. I'd never heard of mountain time. That's better than Pacific time, isn't it? Mountain time. I'm going to use that one.
Well, that's like Central Time. I think it's the same. Like Arizona right now is on Mountain Time. In the
Mountain.
in the spring, we're on Pacific Time because we're one of the very few states that do not change their clocks.
Oh, you see, look, there you go. You learn something new every day, but I like that
That's right.
expression, mountain time. I think as well, in terms of investment, it's about investing different things, isn't it? Time, effort, energy, emotion as well. You know, you can have emotional investment. Um, and whenever you invest something, you have to be careful of it. You have to
Yeah.
look out for yourself and others. And I also like what you said about investing in yourself and investing in other people as well, because I think investment is also about trusting something. When you invest yourself in somebody else, you're trusting somebody else. So it's a kind of a journey of trust, I think. And it was good to say about going for something like a simple walk as well. Don, you do that every day. My wife does that every day. I try and do it most days, but when you do it and you make the effort to do it, even if it's cold or if it's raining, or it's so good, it makes you feel so good afterwards. And investing time, everyone who's here investing their time to spend time here and discuss this, they're investing something, and hopefully they're getting some value from it. I always do. I always did. Whenever I'm involved in the show, it's always a good investment of my time, and I always get some great value from it. So I also like about what you're going to invest, thinking about 2024. We're approaching a new year. We look at what we've invested this year, and we look at what we're going to invest next year. And, I've got some good feelings for everybody about 2024. I think it's going to be a good year of further investment and returns on that. But
it's only 2 weeks away. Who can believe that? A week from today is Christmas. Holy Moses.
I know. I'm almost wrapping.
Well, I think that's why people have to make better investments, because time is something no one can take for granted. Yeah. And ability and access and mobility are something people shouldn't take for granted. So when you can, you should. Coming back to investment, what it makes me believe in is movement. Because anytime you invest in something, it goes up, it goes down, but it keeps going until it either gets to where it's going to go or it disappears. And I think it's putting things in motion. And to Kelly and Harvey's initial points, investing in yourself is the best investment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Spending money, spending time on yourself to be a better self, not to consume stuff. The reason I take a walk every day is I know the cost of not taking the walk is my attitude won't be optimum. And after leaving a room that you spend your life in almost, and going outside, you see a whole different array of clouds, temperatures, winds, animals, and it's all brand new. And now you've got at least some perspective. So sometimes you have to invest in something to invest in the bigger something, right? You got to take care of yourself so you can be around long enough to enjoy whatever it is that you're earning. But the bigger investment after yourself is other people. Who deserves your time and who returns your time in value. Because people get stuck with people that have stopped trying, stopped climbing, right? And if they're going to drag them along, they're going to get dragged down with them. And I think at a point, it's when do you release and when do you engage? When do you, if that's your goal, to optimize your opportunity. And, the nice thing that we just talked about is the harmony we've developed over the months. And months is not a long time. How many people you know for years and you still don't know anything about them? And how many people did you know in a few months? You know everything about them, especially the guests that Kelly has on, or Harvey or myself. So in essence, you can take credit for being such a better person because of so many other better person that came in and, let's say, gave you a tip. And if you look at a tip is usually like, hey, here's something that'll help you, right? Do this, save some money or save some time. But it's also an appreciation, right? And as people come on these shows, they tip everybody with experiences, with all kinds of stories, and makes everybody more accessible to things they could have never been without that opportunity. So anyways, I agree with you. I'm so excited about 2024. And I think what's remarkable, all of us know how few people are this excited about 2024. Most people are getting more challenged, are getting more fearful, right? And this could turn it around, because if it helped us and helped people in the audience, it could help a lot more if people just knew communities were available, microphones were available for people's voices, and people were available. And we've got that. So, that's something you can't invest a price in, but you can invest a thought process and the ability to duplicate. So without more said, I'm going to turn it back to Kelly after I say hello to Carl again. Any expenditure of time is an investment in self, wealth, comfort, or other outcome. It is a great exercise to weigh any use of time with the anticipated outcome. And that's so cool. You can do things in a measured way. You can invest in investing just to figure out what it is that you want to do and spend some time before you place your bets, and then move things around the table, just like a strategy in a football game. Things change, you start moving players, you start moving plays, and you're at least having some fun controlling the action, which I think is something most people don't. If you're going to lose, you like to lose it on your own. You don't need help. A great investment of our time is to listen and learn from you three, and you too, Dennis. And that's what I'm so proud of this year is the community, and in a sense, a congregation, that comes together for common good. And that saying, when you're down, you need the meetings. When you're up, the meetings need you. It applies all the time. Mountain Time gives lots of high time to learn and continue to grow up. Dennis, I don't know.
I love you. That's so great.
I'm happy to be hearing Mountain Time, and it is called MST, Mountain Standard Time. So it's not just something that we say out here. It's real time. And with that, Kelly, coming into real time, how do you take it to the next level?
Well, I'll give it a whirl. So I think there's so many important things that you both just said. The investment being about time, and I think an investment of, speaking of community and maybe the relationships that we've made this year, which you're right, there's some relationships that you made, and it's like, how have we only been like friends since January? Because some people come into your life and it's like they feel like home, for lack of a better term. It's just there's that immediate thing, but it's about trust, right? Trust and feeling safe with those people. And I think the investment in being present and being real with one another it does kind of speed up the investment process, for lack of a better term. Because, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves. Any of you that follow me on LinkedIn know this, that the dreaded pitch slap. I just can't stand that. And I want everyone to just stop it, because you're ruining the relationship before it starts. And the reason is, if you think about when someone comes at you in any way with force, that energy, even if it's in an inbox, in an email, if you're coming forcefully with a pitch, it makes us repel, and we're closed off. Now that the trust and the confidence in anything is closed, it's not even that it's going to take a little time to chip away to get to know someone, because we're all a little tentative. Oh, when are they going to try to sell me? Or when are they not? Or are they just going to try to get to know you and really see, hey, I have an opportunity for you. Or, hey, I know someone that would be perfect for you. Like the relationship portion, the investment in the relationship, it takes time. And I think one of the, technology, to me, it's a good and evil thing because it's so great. We get so much information at our fingertips in moments. But it's also created a society where we want instant gratification, and relationships aren't a couple of emails. And you go, we're buddies. And I can sell them now. It's conversation. It's so much deeper than that. And I think it just goes back to the whole thing of investing in the relationship. What is it that you really want out of it? If you're really looking just for a transaction, then expect to be treated as if you're only looking for a transaction, because you will repel people that come at you. So that's where I'm going this time around.
Harvey, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and I think I think you're right about the fact that it's a journey that takes a bit of time, whatever your relationship is, and yes, you're right with something with sort of stuff online, social media, LinkedIn, etc. You can accelerate a process, but it's still a process that takes time. And it's still a process, a trust journey. It can be accelerated. And like you said there, Kelly, it's accelerated by being open, being honest, being who you are. Because then people just know that's you and they know who they're dealing with and accept that a bit quicker, perhaps. But you can't rush it. And I think with something like this, with a LinkedIn Live and the engagement we have with the community here and on the Awesome Journey and on my show, you get a level of connection with people that you don't get doing any other kind of format. You put a post out, someone likes or comments it, you get a chance to have a conversation with somebody, to understand how they feel about things, to start to get to know them and they get to know you. And then you really start to build something a little bit more than you had before. I had a conversation with somebody that was in the audience of my show today. I had the conversation, a Zoom call, about an hour and a quarter, really valuable. And during the course of that conversation, I said something that made him think, and he thought of somebody else that he wanted to connect me with. Now, they were genuine connections after having a meaningful discussion. And I just wanted to go back to something you said there, Don. You said about a tip as well. When you tip someone, if you have a good meal and you leave a tip, and a tip is something a little bit extra above what you were expecting. And I think that that's something that's worth considering. You might come to a show like this or the Awesome Journey or my show, and you might have an expectation as to what you might find there. But you might come away with something a little bit extra that on top of that. So I think that's really interesting when you talk in terms of investment, something you get beyond what you thought you might have got, or something you give beyond what you might have thought you would have given, or value that you might have added. When I speak to people who are potentially going to be guests, they always ask me, or I ask them, how they feel they might be able to add something, what they want to add. And they sometimes have an idea as to what they want to add and the value that they want to add. But sometimes it just comes from a natural conversation, and they might see something or hear something that just gives them something extra that they didn't expect to happen. So yeah, I think that's. I also like about the fact that you talk about movement, investment as movement and moving forward. We've often spoken here about just taking that first step in terms of a LinkedIn Live and building an audience there. I mean, for you, Don, you did all the hard work all those years ago, and did a show on your own and had very little audience and very little engagement, but still did it, still took that first brave step. And Kelly and I often talk about when we made that step, we had a huge advantage, thanks very much to the value you brought to the relationship. But it was still a first step. It was still a movement. We had to take a brave step of doing that first show and starting to grow something, supported very much, not only by each other and by the community, but it still was something we had to take a bit of a brave first step. But we took that step a few steps ahead of when you took that first step. And now anybody we help is taking that step a few steps ahead of where we took that step. So we're really, engaging in this show and other things that hopefully we will all do together helps you take further steps and further movement beyond that first brave one. And it's always a brave step, even if someone's taken 50 steps before you. Still a brave step, but it's worth taking.
Yeah.
Well, you know, to both your points, which are amazing, because it allowed me to think of something I would have never thought of, is what made us who we are at this point, but also who made us collectively at this point, and what. And the what was hard work. That's one thing we're always able to do for the last 11 months is show up, continue to learn, continue to build, continue to support. And we've seen so many high flyers, if you want to call them that, show up and disappear, right? Because they couldn't take the discipline, the consistency, or the belief in their dream to know it's on its way. It's just when, not if. And then how do we get there better? But I think what this has even evolved into is if it's done so much for us by chance, right? Stumble in here, connect with this, enjoy something, and it hooks you into, let's say, continuing on to the next level, is the gift is what it is that we're working with and how we're working with it, not what we do with it, right? Because if all we want to do is extend it into what we do on our show, that's a larger journey, a little bit lonelier journey. But if you say, hey, we're going to turn our private cars into Ubers, right, and take people where they want to go, and eventually create their Uber for them, you know, and keep launching, right? It's so much easier to give and support and push somebody forward than it is to control, manage, minimize. And that's what so many organizations do. You know, that's why I always say a job is qualified as just over broke. And that's how most people are who have jobs. They make enough to live enough to come back, but never enough to leave, in a sense. And I think that's what we're offering is freedom of not only financial success and maybe time freedom, but the ability to believe in a better year, in a better future, because you're making it instead of waiting for someone to offer it to you or identify you, you know. And I think we share a little impatience, you know, that we want to get somewhere, you know, we're not sit stillers, you know, and I'm changing stuff just because I got change in my hands, you know, like I'll change my profile 3 times a day. And it could be an exclamation point I put instead of a period. But I think where that comes from is being a retailer and starting out with nothing, working out of a catalog. You're always working your store. You know, you're never sitting down. You're pricing stuff, you're organizing stuff, you're making displays, you're always busy on detail. And when you build an organization like this that has so much abundance, how much can you curate in the most positive way? And I think we all agree one of the biggest benefits, some of the people we've talked to are amazing. And we're talking to them at least as peers. And in most cases, we're the ones who have the show that we're offering the audience and access to. So I just think on all points, this is just so grand in its ability to affect people so quickly and redirect their thoughts to say, hey, there's hope for me. You know, there's something I'm doing that's special about me that if I niched it, I would get a quality audience. So anyways, Kelly, what's your thoughts? Well, let's get
I was going to say, I think we need to hit some of these comments.
Yeah. About trusting yourself and the person, company you are investing in, and being consistent to make the investment successful, whether it dollars, relationships. You know, you can win on many counts. That's so true, Christy, is too many people focus on the money instead of the value. And the value will in turn create the money. But if you go for the money first, you're always chasing value instead of just over serving when you're giving a lot for a little. It doesn't diminish the value of it. It just makes the access to it a lot easier and maybe makes someone who's cynical a self-believer. So, Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, so many good things that you both just said. And hey, Christy, love you, sister. And speaking of, investment in that way with our time, I think like hearing money makes me just go, okay, if money is part of your investment, although unless it's in your portfolio and you're truly doing something to invest in your money, talking about yourself in any kind of investment that you're doing, if money is the goal, it usually comes across that way, and it can feel to the receiver very much as it feels salesy. It can feel disingenuous. And when we give something, and Christy is such a great example because she invests her time paying it forward to so many people by doing her, free LinkedIn profile and resume reviews for people, which is just out of the goodness of her heart. And my feel is what we give out into the world, it does come back tenfold. But I also believe you need to be doing it for the most genuine reasons. It can't be because, well, I'm going to see who I can dupe and reel in through this net to squeeze some cash out of. But I think that comes with our own security, likely, right? I think when we feel good about where we are, who we are, and accept all the things, the good, the bad, and the not so great, because we're all human, we're not perfect, that our investment in others feels different. And I think, that goes back to the whole thing of people don't remember what you sold them or how great of a sales pitch you gave. They remember how you made them feel. And that really does go back from a sales perspective. People aren't buying your widget. They're buying you because generally whatever it is whatever product or service that you're selling, there's plenty of other people doing the same exact thing. People buy from you because they invest their trust and confidence in you. Because anything that involves our money, right, that means something to us. We worked hard for that, and it's harder to keep these days. So we're much more, I think those things matter even more to have that trust and confidence to deal with our assets that we've worked so hard for and to invest. But I think all of those things roll back around to the investment in self. And what does that look like? Are they relationships, your friendships? Investing in each other, for whatever it is, your time, your presence. Like, I just think that's so key on so many things about it, investing in one another. It is your presence and your true care for them to do better. Because I think while both of you were talking, Dawn, I couldn't help but think, well, the reason Harvey and I were able to leap off onto our own, and I couldn't do it without Christy, I'm not gonna lie. So God bless you, Harvey. But is because of your investment in us. You saw something in us maybe that we didn't even know lived there yet. And it ignited because of your investment. And we both had this trust and confidence in you, which is our investment in the relationship, and community, and feeling safe, supported, and all of those things, because we're apt to do things we never would, or not push ourselves as far, except for when we have those things aligned, feeling safe, secure, and supported, because we feel more, what do you want to call it? We feel more apt to take a risk than we would if we were feeling insecure, not supported. Oh God, what is everybody going to say? Whereas we all kind of had the attitude of like, hey, Harvey, if nobody shows up, at least I'm going to be there with you. Or, oh my God, we went live when we weren't supposed to. I totally messed it up. But nobody was smacking each other around to go like, God, you suck. It's all been like, hey, here's what we can do to make it better. How can we help others to shorten this path, to make it not be, because we see all the trials and the whoopses along the way, and the nuances, because there's so many. We still find them on the regular, but it is about learning to I think not be so critical with ourselves, which is another investment on giving ourselves grace. Um, because we are human, we're not meant to be perfect. And I think people, in my opinion, like real conversation with real people. They don't want all this overproduced people telling me what you want to say, throw me the sales pitch, saying the same canned things that everybody else says. They really want to hear realness. So maybe that's an investment into realness and accepting yourself for who you are. What are your thoughts?
Harvey, I can't say enough for what Kelly said, so I won't say anything until I say something next. Well, Harvey, go ahead.
I completely agree with everything that Kelly has just said, but and particularly wanted to touch upon our relationship, the three of us, and how that came about, and what Kelly said about that trust in us and that investment in us, and in return we invest together and invested back to you. But it absolutely was correct that that initial investment of trust in us to ask us to be a guest that very first time, when we perhaps didn't believe that even we could be a guest, ignited, I like that word as well, Kelly, ignited something.
Yeah.
You know, a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, we started to believe something, and then the more we believed it, the more it was coming true. And I wanted to say thank you for that. You know, it's a joint thing, but you know, I often say thank you, and I just hope that, you know, we continue to do the same for other people. You know, to lift them, to trust in them, and believe in them, and then they go on to, you know, to achieve wonderful things. I think it was really true that you said about you know, finding a niche as well. I think that that's an important thing. Whatever your niche is, that's where you find the community to trust in and to invest in. You know, when we make a connection request or form a relationship of some sort, where we're choosing to make an investment, and you probably could count, you know, not even a few hundred, probably less than that, of people that really you want to be within your tight community, that you want to really start to build things with. You know, it's probably less than 50. So, you know, if you've got 5,000 connections, 1,000 connections, it doesn't matter. It's what you do with the people that you're aligned with, and that want to grow and share with you. It's really important, and that's where I think you should invest. You know, I had this great conversation with a chap today, and he was talking about raising capital for businesses, and it was very interesting because it's supported by the government, this particular scheme. And my first thought, because I like to help people on a Sunday that are out of work, it would be perfect for them, because it's a scheme that allows 100% of the loan to be financed. You know, if you're looking to start a business, you know, up to.
I do have to interrupt, because when you say the word scheme, I immediately thought, oh, so is this like some kind of like Ponzi?
Oh, no, the positive version of that word.
Yeah, okay. Just clarifying.
But anyway, without going into the details of it, it was what I thought is it's a great thing to, you know, to think about investing that advice to somebody else, you know. And I know you guys deal with veterans as well, and trying to help sort of move on to that sort of new, you know, they're looking at making an investment in a really different stage of their life and something different they're doing, and that's a real investment as to what they're going to choose there. So yeah, I think when you form these new connections and you have genuine connections, have a call with someone, you really can find true value and make really good investments. I just wanted to quickly say hello, because all these comments come up, and I wanted to recognize people very quickly, if that's all right. Wanted to say hello to Carl, to Dennis, to Dave, to Christy, my original Hour of Empower partner, and of course the Awesome Journey other half. And there's been some and Linda as well. And it's just lovely to have you here and really driving the comments. I just wanted to pick out what Linda said there. There you go. Been trying to get in, but never could get it from. But made it going to Kelly for you. Well, that's good. Investing to get in with your. Well, this is it. Anyone who's in the audience trying to investing their time here, and we said it at the beginning, but you're making an investment, and the return hopefully is us all growing together.
I think such an important point that you made right there that is standing out that I want to spew out. So excuse me, Don, before it leaves my brain. Is like working with the veterans as an example. So many of these people, and even Don doing this show, the investment is about helping others. 100% has nothing to do with money. It has to do with human beings and helping others, whether it's saving them from child trafficking. I mean, all of these things, helping vets, get jobs after transition, helping people with their mental health. But the fascinating part with all of these people that I can't even begin to tell you how amazingly blessed that Christy and I feel that we've been able to have on our show, and what we've learned from it, because I'm a better human being because of it, from being here, the people I've met from here. But it's that every single one of them, that it is truly about making a difference with others, so they don't either have to go through what they went through, or they know how they got to the other side, so they want to quicken the gap, if you will, to help others get there. And I think that's the beauty of life in so many ways. Human beings just truly helping each other out of the goodness of their heart, because they can, not because they're trying to make it an opportunistic thing to make money off it or to glorify. Some of these people are doing so many things behind the scenes that nobody ever knows about, because they just want to keep digging and making a difference. And that's the kind of stuff, to me anyways, that it just, it gives me chill bumps to my core a lot of times hearing people talk about those things. But that investment in humanity, for lack of a better term, to make it better. And that's really when Christy and I started this. Our goal was we were like, hey, we just want to put an hour out a week that creates some motivation, inspiration, and hope into this world, and hope it does a ripple effect, and learn something along the way, because we thought if everybody just did a little bit, putting out some positivity and helping one another just because, how beautiful of a change that we can make. Because we can all sit back and complain about things, be the biggest critics about things, but people, that's easy. To actually stand up and do something positive towards helping, making a difference, no matter what capacity it is. Doing a live stream, quite frankly, particularly for your business, but even as an individual, if you want to do it, it is not a big investment, financially speaking. But the investment that you were the ROI, to go back to earlier, Don, the ROI on the investment is priceless. The people, again, that I have connected with and that can truly now call friends is unbelievable. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that we would be sitting here, the latter part of December, which blows my mind, that we would have all met and done some of the things we've done this year. It's not that I would say, oh, hell no, I can't do that. It wouldn't be an I can't do. I would just be like, no way. Like there's no way I'm going to do over 100 live streams this year. That just sounds insane. But here we are. And I mean, I can't wait for what's coming up, and how things shift, move, and change, and how even the investment in the Awesome Journey has been an investment in a friendship. Christy is one of the dearest people in my life, and I'm so blessed and grateful for her. And we've known each other for 15 years, but and I don't want to say we weren't friends. We just were casual friends. We spoke every once in a while, that kind of thing. But now I can't imagine her not being in my life, and that's because of an investment in something that truly was started to put out something positive into the world. I mean, when you break it back to its core, it's really that simple. So
Well,
that's what I'm doing this time.
and that's so beautiful in so many ways. And I think when you look at investments, you look at how much you earn on the investment, right? You put a lot of time and effort into somebody and they take advantage of it and they prosper, right? How much benefit do you continue to get, and how much appreciation comes back to you? Because I think the common thread with all of the best people I've met is they're really good people first. It doesn't matter where they've been, what they did, what they want to do. Are they loyal? Are they generous? Are they dedicated? Are they willing to take time? And, I think, everybody talks about quality of life, but how many people can really make that quality of life change without a major event like a lottery or something like this? We turn the tables. There's people who, before the show, I would wonder, well, do we align, or are we at the same level, whatever it is? And then with the show, I found people I thought would be so impressive that turned out to be so unimpressive as people, right? So shallow, so superficial, no substance, no long term, just fool them for a while and move on to another crowd. And, life's too short to make informal relationships that are important to have to support what you want to do. Right? If the foundation is kind of wiggly, you're only going to be limited by that foundation, versus who do you really want to be with? Who do you choose to be with right now? And most people, they have to go back to, who do I know? Who can I call? Who can I visit? And it's usually the same suspects, and they don't satisfy your future needs. And what I love is taking people who have so much to say and have earned the right to say it, never gotten the microphone or the stage. And we're allowing that to happen, just like it happened to us. Is be a guest, right? Get your feet wet. Don't jump in. But if you want to jump in, we can help you in an accelerated way. Because if we can share every best practice, and we're learning every day in every way, because it's like a jack in the box sometimes, LinkedIn. You don't even know it till it blows up on you and it scares you a little bit until you can figure it out. But, again, if we can compress time, if we can increase value and really pivot from wherever you thought you are to now knowing what you can use to get to what you want, right? If all of a sudden you get a much bigger ladder and you could reach a much higher window, that's a lot better than being on a step stool wondering, how do I get to the next step? So with that, let's cover some of these beautiful comments. I changed my catchphrase, Carl says in LinkedIn, from overcoming the top challenges to raising capital to overcoming challenges to raising capital. So the entire phrase would show up alongside my comments on your show instead of overcoming the top challenge. Well, it's those little things you notice that other people will notice too. If you go to fine restaurants or hotels, they have signature things they do, right? They might have an ice sculpture. They might have something with the way they do their butter, but it's little things they want to put a touch to. So you say, wow, someone thought about that, or someone cared enough to put something out there, went above and beyond. And why wouldn't you want to go above and beyond when you're not serving more people than you can handle at this point? You're not stretched for time. And I think that's the difference between the winners, the people that say great post to the people who write 3 lines. Takes 10 more seconds, but you know them to be someone who's thoughtful, someone who actually follows and reads your stuff. And that outweighs the, just automatic stuff. And here's the other, I think, mystique about LinkedIn is so many people are caught up in vanity numbers, followers, impressions, that stuff. Ask yourself, who are the 3 people that will stand with you no matter what? Because this is a battle. It's not on a battlefield the same way as a normal battle, but people are fighting for their success, for their life, for their family, and the people around them, right? Why not do more? How much more could it be at stake? And why not think a little bit more? And I think most people never have time because their time is sucked up instead of invested, right? You get caught on social media for 3 hours and there's no end to the stuff you can keep scrolling, right? And just keep dragging time and thought away from you when you can converge. So I think there's huge benefit. Linda says, well, have been trying to get, okay, we talked about that one, but I'm glad you're in, and it shows how resourceful you can be. Use opportunity, probably instead of scheme. I think that applies
Yeah.
to. Kelly, I invest time being apart, listening, and sharing. We all need real community to share and help each other be able to invest in others as we all move forward. This is almost like a bucket line, right? In the old days when someone had a fire, they just lined up a bunch of people, started at the sea, and kept passing the buckets, right? And eventually it just was a flow of water. I think we have that ability to join a bucket line with each other, right? To put out fires that maybe have been burning too long and now get into the rebuilding. I think everybody looking at 2024 should feel this is the year if I want it to be, right? And I know people who can help me now that I didn't have in prior years. I know shows, and the more shows that people produce, the more opportunities to learn faster. I mean, this shows every day, but I know Leslie's always been very generous with sharing everybody's shows and being part of it. Beverly's here. Beverly's our Tuesday person. Actually, I'm talking to Beverly later. Oh my goodness, I'm so late, but hi, never too late. Beverly is another person that over time has demonstrated her goodness. You can bring anybody on with Beverly and they'll have a better time for it. And that's duplication. It's not just the duplication in policy or in protocol, but in support and making somebody feel comfortable. Like Harvey and Kelly says, you got to remember how your first time was. And sometimes you take it for granted because you just buckle in and, hey, you take off. And that person will never forget the kindness you might have shown them on the first time and made them a believer. And I tell you, then they want to come back, right? And you can't stop them after a while. Once they get that theater bug or whatever you want to call it. Tunde's here. Haven't seen you in a while, Tunde, but always thinking of you. Well, I've missed a lot of live series. I kind of thought that. Of impactful discussions from my guest influence. Thank you. Greetings from Nigeria to the discussions and the audience. Best regards with love. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Anybody that comes from Nigeria, I always give credit to Ambambola because she was another wonderful individual who showed up, never had seen a show, was so here every day. And you know what I don't miss about someone not being here is they're somewhere on their own now, right? Like someone moved in with you for a few weeks to get their feet on the ground. Also, they rented a really nice place and you're happy for them. And I think that's our goal is come on in, get up and get out and come back and tell us how it's going. And I think that's really what we're working on for 2024 is having programs that we can onboard, train, support, and really give them a tailwind. But the beauty of it is every one of those people that we learned that now we can share with everybody else on the show, our shows, and we're getting better at guests. We're learning what good guests are. We're looking how to make guests better and how to make the show better. So Harvey, Been a while.
Wow. I mean, some amazing comments, and I agree with a lot of the things you said there. I wanted to pick up actually on something that Linda said. And I think it was invest time in, yes, that's it. Invest time in listening and sharing. And I particularly like the investing time in listening as well, because that's learning, isn't it? You know, and
Yeah.
I think if you can invest time in listening and asking good questions, then I think you learn a lot and you'll get a good return on that investment.
Amen.
But what time is it? Okay.
We need some sound effects. Like, I feel like that has to be a 2024 goal, is like when Harvey says, what time is it? We need to have some kind of sound that designates it.
Today, there was a few things that we said at the beginning, and you know what? I'm trying to do now a prop based on our discussions, not on my thoughts beforehand. So it's a nerve-wracking thing to do because I haven't got something there at the beginning. But at the beginning of our conversation, we were talking about the fact that any investment takes time. And it takes a certain level of determination as well. And so my prop today is this very beautiful crystal.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's great.
What is that? Is that a rose quartz?
It's an amethyst.
That's my first.
That's a big amethyst.
Oh, there you go. You see, that's probably because I'm holding it quite close. It's smaller when it's over here.
And best practices. Closer, they look bigger.
That's it. But the reason that I like this as a prop for investment is, how does a crystal form? It forms with time. It forms with pressure as well. But also, if you take pressure, you could convert that word to determination towards a single thing. And it forms all sorts of different colors and all sorts of different shapes, depending on how that journey of time goes. But they're all beautiful. And that's why I like it, because it shows a level of determination. It shows that if you invest time, albeit this probably tens of thousands of years, that you can achieve something really beautiful. So there you go. That's my prop for today.
A beautiful prop, and so good to see you being able to be so spontaneous in the moment. I think that's all three of us learned, to go with the flow, take everything in stride. You know, look at the silver lining. You know, you have to work at feeling good with yourself. You know, you really have to give yourself some room, some space to find yourself. And, you know, I know that when someone's going through something, you know how much of a difference you make for just being there. Knowing even though there's a lot of things you can't do anything about, it's circumstances beyond your control, but you can make someone feel more comfortable. You can make people give themselves some space and time, like, hey, you did enough worrying today. Tomorrow will be soon enough. You know, I think that's because you get over stuff in time, one way or the other, or it gets over you one way or the other, but nothing stays the same forever. And I think to come back around to investment is, look at some of the investments you made this year, right? I mean, Harvey decided to get on a show. That was an investment. Kelly decided to come on a show. You know, Christy, I mean, we just keep naming people. And sometimes one investment covers every investment, right? You could buy a stock, put $100 in it. I saw that if you bought $1,000 in Google when it went public, I think it's worth like 15 million today or something.
Oh my gosh.
You know, but again, who was brave enough or had 1,000 they could put on something like Google and wait 15 years? How many times
Those
did
are the innovators. Like those are the ones that take the higher risk. Like that's a whole nother show that Carl should do for sure. Talking about investment, because people usually don't jump on board until they see other people making money, and then they're like, oh well, now I want on, but they missed the real steep incline of where they would make, or they're laggards. They get in late. They have to see it proven to work first, whereas the ones that invest up front have a higher risk tolerance, which
Well,
again, that's a whole nother show.
or maybe a higher confidence, because the typical thing is you put $1,000 in and would go up 50%. Now it's worth 1,500, and you'd lock in your profit. How does a person with $1,000 see it worth $1 million, go to 2 million, and they're still hanging in there with it?
Yeah.
Until it got to 15 million. So I think if you believe enough and you're patient enough,
Mm-hmm.
allow it to do what it does. They say the best thing to do is you buy a stock, throw it in your drawer, and don't look at it for a year.
Well, yeah, and Carl just said, high risk does not mean high reward, and absolutely true. High risk can be a dumb decision in some cases, quite frankly. But yeah, I think just to kind of round out that part, when the market crashed, the real estate market back 2007-8, I remember people that were looking at their portfolios daily and losing their minds. And it was like, y'all, you need to stop doing that, because you're in for the long haul. And kind of to go back to what you said earlier, Don, forward movement is forward movement. We do long-term investments knowing that it's going to go up and down. And if you have a diversified portfolio, that's the whole point, because there will be downturns, but over the long haul, you will get a decent return if you're working with a good financial services person to help you have a diversified portfolio that matches your risk, your risk tolerance. So wow, totally spun that into a real financial investment thing right there.
Well, I think that brings us all around with investment is the fun of investing. Not just the benefit of investing. It really challenges your mind, and again, your appetite to invest. Right? You can go to a casino and play a penny machine for $20 and spend a whole night there, or you can go spend $1,000 every spin and lose a fortune. But it's the same machine. It's the same game. It's just how much fear do you want to have to face? How much danger?
Scared money never wins. That's what I was always told.
I just wanted to quickly say something, because this just reminded me of something. But the comment that Carl's put there about the time machine, it was making me think about my favorite film, and I've used it as a prop too many times, so I can't use that one. But Back to the Future is one of my all-time favorite films, and it reminded me of when he got the sports almanac and was going to use it to win betting. And it reminded me about what we're doing and how we're trying to help people, because we're almost giving somebody a bit of a time machine, because what we're doing is we're going through and we're discovering what works, what doesn't work in terms of building an audience and having a LinkedIn Live, and sharing with people what does and what doesn't work. So it's almost like they've gone to the future and can make a decision based on a mistake that's already happened. So maybe I should have used the time machine, but
you had the flux capacitor not too long ago. Your flux
I know,
capacitor.
but I've actually got the time machine somewhere up there, but
nice.
It's not the real one. But
there is a great documentary on Michael J. Fox, and I think it's called Still. On Netflix. It talks about his Parkinson's, and then goes through with his family. It's incredible. I mean, but it's real. I mean, it's raw, because he's like, this is what it looks like for me on the daily, and goes through.
I read his book.
It's so good. Yeah.
Well, and that just kind of demonstrates how much inspiration is available to so many people if they want to invest in it. I'm always investing in YouTube. So, self-learning. I've always got curiosity. Even before the show, Harvey was saying, maybe we should Google this. And, if you have a question, you can get an answer. or find out nobody has an answer, which makes everybody equal again. So
I think the whole part with Google, which I think is fantastic. You can get a video for almost anything, which is great, but it's like you have to watch so many of them and try to put all the pieces together, as opposed to just who can I talk to that can help me get there quicker. Like I just want a one-stop shop.
well, and I think that's not getting into polls, but that's where polling can help you with your audience and getting some feedback. Is here's what I'm thinking about doing. What's everybody, is this something good or bad or whatever? And I think it's the curiosity that keeps us moving, not being satisfied with all we've learned yet, right? There's so much more to learn. There's so much more to do with what we've learned. I wish I had a time machine to look a year ahead, to look back at where we are right now, and then see, they say the first million's always the hardest, right? The second million comes a lot faster. It's the same thing with the first year in anything. And one last thing I'll say as far as an investment, if you take a regular business and you bootstrap it, how long does it take for it to get profitable or even cash flow positive? A long time. And you're lucky if you don't spend and lose a ton of money before it starts rising. This is the same thing. You're building your own business with really no capital, with really no help except for who you can engage and earn their friendship and trust. And I think that's the difference with groups that work well together, is they earn their membership by how they treat each other, not for what they do for each other, right? Because anybody can do stuff, but are they there to make you feel like, hey, I'm not alone, or hey, when it's time to take the hill, I know who's going to be behind me, and it's going to be fun. And I think when you bring that fun factor in, that's the thing that lacks so much. Most of it is get your money, get your stuff, get out, right? Versus hang around, take it easy, relax, let's talk. And I think that's where we're going. And I think this audience is helping us take there. So in finality, Harvey, I'll let you say final words, and then Kelly, and then we'll let everybody go back to what they need to do from here.
I think, a lot of amazing things have been said today, but I think it's just about keeping on investing in things that are true and things that you believe in, and be open and make genuine connections, which are genuine investments. So I think invest in people and invest in others, and the return will come back to you if you have that attitude as well, to invest in others. So I think my final thoughts are invest in other people, and let them grow with you.
Okay. I'm there. Kelly.
Yeah, so I could not agree more. But like I know Don uses this analogy a lot, but you can't help others, just like the oxygen mask on the airplane. You've got to put it on yourself first before you can help others. So invest in yourself first and continued as you invest in others. And when you do, like I always say, go out and shine so bright that others can't help but shine too. That's a pretty great investment.
And I think that was a wonderful benefit of this year is being able to hear that inspiring saying every time you close, and really thinking of Harvey with his props. You think of special people in special ways, right? It could be older family members, and there was just something about them that made them special in the way they did something or treated you, and you carry that forever. And isn't it great when you can reinforce that with the people you are now helping to create that with? And I think that's so surprising to people, because some people don't see what they used to see, don't feel what they used to feel, the things that made them special, and now they can get that back, and we can help do that. So anyways, come back tomorrow. If it's Tuesday, it's Beverly and Denise again. Denise was great last week on a 4-person show, so now she'll have a little bit more space and room on a 3-person show. So take care. Talk to you later. Bye.